I'm just curious. Do you get as excited about broccoli as I do? Look, even Sasha's getting excited about broccoli. I mean, I don't know who can't get excited about broccoli. Broccoli just happens to be one of those brassicas that I absolutely love. I don't mind cabbage to a certain degree. Stuffed cabbage is something I enjoy. I'm not overly partial of cauliflower, even though I'm growing it. Collards, I have recently developed a nice taste for, and I like it. But broccoli, man, I just, I don't know. It does it for me. I love some broccoli. In fact, I'm quite hungry here, sitting here thinking about it and putting these plants in the ground. And we're a little ways off from actually having some broccoli to eat and cook. But man, some nice fresh steamed broccoli, a little bit of drawn butter dipping sauce, a little couple of spices and herbs in there maybe. Whew, boy, man, come on. How fast can these things grow after all? Anyways, I'm Jim. Welcome back to Sunrise Farm, and I just want to thank you so much for stopping by and checking out today's video. And you guessed it, it's on broccoli. So we're going to be planting these brassicas over there in the garden in just a minute in our plots. So we have two varieties of broccoli right here. This variety right here is called Desico. It's an heirloom variety. And in this variety was a pack of seeds I'd gotten from Tractor Supply, and it is a hybrid variety called Sun King. Honestly, if you can tell between the germination and growth of this to the germination and growth of this, I'm just saying, this heirloom variety looks pretty awesome. And so I'm not too sure what to expect out of this hybrid variety. Going forward, for the most part, we're going to do a lot of seed saving and have our own stuff. Now, of course, broccoli, it has to go through what's called its bolting period, where it kind of gets cold and then hot a couple of times to cycle itself, telling it it's done and it needs to go to flower. But we may allow a few of those to do that because I love broccoli that much. I mean, does a pack of about 600 seeds cost that much? No, for quality seeds, maybe about $5. But the point being is I don't ever want to be in a position without it. In fact, I was having a discussion with my wife last night about, when we come around, now we're in the fall, okay, so we're in mid-October, and I'm getting ready to drop these in the ground. Now they are a little bit behind, and if you watch some of my other videos, I had some back issues, and it caused me to be a little bit behind. So they're about 2 weeks behind as far as being in the ground, out of here and in the ground. But at any rate, so I was having this conversation with my wife last night about what do we do as far as going into the spring planting, or even maybe some further fall planting that we still have a little time to do. Should we plant more brassicas, and or what should we plant? Well, she really likes broccoli as well, and the first thing she said was, well, let's get some more broccoli going. Now, in all fairness, I don't think I have quite enough time to start another tray of broccoli and get it in the ground solid before our technical or proposed first frost date in mid to late November. And the reason they have to be in the ground for a while is they have to be established. They have to be hardy enough to withstand the cold and the freeze temperatures that we might get here in Zone 8B in the south, which is not much. I mean, we get a few days in the 20s sometimes, and every once in a while it goes below 20 for a day or two, or a couple hours even during the day until the sun comes up. But so they like the cold, and in fact it can be a little harder on us to grow broccoli just simply because we live in the south and we don't have as much colder weather. So it's not the fact they can't take it. In fact, they'll go into the winter just fine. But they can't take it if they're not established. They don't have established roots in the ground and getting the proper nutrition and encouragement they need, support they need. We're going to be planting in what's called an offset double row. Again, if you've seen any of my previous videos, which I'll link in the description, you'll know that I do drip tape for irrigation, and I'll show you all this in the garden. And we do what's called a zigzag pattern. Now, technically speaking, I've seen plenty of people recommend you can just plant these 1 foot in line down the row. Then I see, the companies or the seed companies recommend 16 to 18 inch spacing. And then I see others that say 2 feet is a good spacing. Well, okay, do whatever way works best for you. But in my case, I like to work with a zigzag pattern, or a diagonal pattern, or offset pattern, depending on, terminology, what you want to call it. So we'll show you that more in the garden. So I'm going to plant 1 row, maybe only 1 row. We might get more out of this, because this is a 162 cell tray, and so this is half of the tray, so roughly 81 plants and 81 plants. Now, granted, you can already see we did not get the complete germination here. Now, you never get 100% germination, but there's a lot of plants in here that probably have some doubles in them. So how many total plants I have, anybody's guess at the moment. But if I get an average in my rows are between 40 and 50 feet long, I'm kind of changing up going into next spring where they're all going to be 50 feet long. But at any rate, if you calculate that, let's just say my row is 45 feet. Well, it's simple. Even though I'm going to do them in a zigzag pattern, 2 feet apart in their little mini rows, but staggered across from each other on either side of a row of drip tape that is every 12 inches for the emitter spacing, then that should equal basically 1 plant per foot. So a 45-foot row should be able to plant 45 plants. Now, if I have upwards of 80, perhaps even a few more, I very well may take a shot at planting 2 rows, because I really like broccoli that much. But on this particular variety, it looks like I'll get a row in. I mean, I don't know if I'll have, I probably have at least 40 in here. But whatever it is, I'll do a row, and if I have a 5 foot left over, I'll either leave it blank or I'll fill it in with something else. You don't necessarily want to leave a row, leave valuable real estate in the garden undone. Anyway, so I hope you're as excited about broccoli as I am, and I'll stop yakking and we'll go over to the garden and take a look. Come on with me. Here's just a quick shot of what we've been doing the last few days, and their various videos will be linked in this video. So over here we have cabbage, collard greens, cauliflower, and now broccoli. Now the cauliflower and cabbage I planted the same way. So this is cabbage, but it'll be the same way as broccoli. So you can see the head of the start of the line. Right there is my shut-off valve for my drip tape that runs down the middle of the row. And so it starts on one side of the drip tape, irrelevant of what side you start on. And then every 1 foot emitter, you cross diagonally. So you end up with them 2 foot apart on either side of that drip tape. And from plant to plant, it's roughly about 16 inches. So that's pretty good spacing to allow these things to grow out. Now, cabbages obviously will get, the more space you give them to a degree, the bigger the heads will grow. So this is going to be the same principle for the broccoli. It was the same principle for what right here in front of you is the cauliflower. And since cauliflower and broccoli are very, very similar in nature and how they grow, if not almost identical other than what they produce as a head, I'm just going to go on record as saying, when you turn the water on and let it run, and you've gone about doing other things, don't forget the timer that's on it. And it shut off on me. So at any rate, here we are. Now I have it back on. Now the drip tape is flowing, and we'll get to show you the emitter spacing. Faux pas that go on when you're trying to both film and farm at the same time. Get rid of that little weed while we're at it. All right. So just look for wherever the emitter is you're going to start with. Now there happens to be one right here. I don't necessarily want to be that close to the edge, so I'm going to probably start in here. So I'm just going to plant my first one and tuck it in. And we'll come to the next one right here. So 1 foot to here, and plant on the other side in these little mini furrows that the double wheel hoe has created. And as you might can see a little bit, so I ran my drip tape first. I turned the plow set around on a double wheel hoe. I took it to cover, used that to cover the row, or cover the drip tape, excuse me. And when it does that, the way the plow set works is the blades on it create these 2 little mini furrows. And these will work great for when you're double row planting something, or in this case, I am double row planting it, but not necessarily in the traditional sense, but I'm using that to my advantage for the zigzag effect. Now, technically speaking, I'm only 6 inches off the drip tape. This plant will get plenty of water. You may, so it'll get plenty of water. That's not the issue. So we just carry on doing that, finding every emitter. So here's the next one. And just bring it over here to that little mini furrow and tuck her in. All right, let's take a quick look. Once everything is set up, planting this way is other than your back is very simple. And in that 1 row that we just planted was 46 plants. And I do have several left over of that 1 variety. Most of the ones I have left over are double germinated. So I'm going to I'll probably end up doing another row, but I'm also going to probably save some of these to up pot them. Now, right here in that variety, I only have about 36. A couple of them don't look too good. So a 36 clearly won't make a full row. So we'll probably either fill it with something else or do a half row of this variety and save some of them for in case some of these don't make it. So, well, all right, everybody. That wraps it up for today's planting of broccoli. In future videos, we'll give you garden updates and you'll see there'll be more broccoli planted. But as far as planting goes, that is how we plant broccoli on a zigzag or diagonal offset pattern. So again, there's a row of drip tape. There's 1 row about 6 inches from the drip tape, another row about 6 inches from the drip tape, i.e. about 1 foot apart. And they're planted in an offset fashion on every emitter, which is 12-inch spacing. So again, the row is 46 feet. That's how we have 46 plants. All right. If you have any questions or thoughts, or by all means something different to add, I look forward to reading your comments and hearing what you have to say. I'd love to learn different ways, different techniques. It's probably different in some regards from what your ground is to how you grow it to even these we're going to try next season. So, basically a year from now, we're going to try to do all of these in raised beds because of the back issues. I'm going to build a bunch of 50-foot long by 3 and 4 foot wide various raised beds. And that'll be a whole series of videos over the next 6 months or so, probably, going into the spring season. So again, just to, I hope that this is something that helps y'all. I pray that y'all have a blessed and abundant crop wherever you're planting, whether you do a single plant in a little planter, whether you do a handful in a raised bed, whether you plant acres of it. I just pray that God will bless your abundance with it. I know for me, broccoli is, like I said, just one of those foods I love to eat. And so, yeah, if you got any other thoughts or comments, I'd love to hear those. Please go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed. Like the video, share it to help us get our channel out there and the word out there, so to speak, to help us get noticed. And please turn on the notification bell. That way you'll get notified every time we bring out a new video. Right now I'm working through doing a series of these videos on all the brassicas, but I'm going to have videos coming up on just, I don't know, everything. Anyways, I was probably being a little facetious and an overstatement, but I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you, how much I thank you for even taking your time to watch any part of this video. It is a true and wonderful blessing to me and my family here on our homestead and our farm. So thank you so much. Take care and God bless you. Have an amazing day in the Lord.